Hey, Soul Group. This is As Told by Chris, where we speak for the change makers. I'm Micah.
I'm Portia.
And today we're going to be talking about divination and crystals. So, before we get into all of that, we're going to do our deep breathing. Then I'm going to give you some updates of what's going on with the moon during this time. And yeah, then we'll dive all the way in, okay? Let's take on over, Portia.
Let's do it. Let's take a moment and come and arrive in this moment today. Thanks for giving yourself the time to listen to this podcast or watch this YouTube. Let's take our deep breaths. Inhale. Hold it at the top. And exhale. One more. Inhale. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and exhale.
Okay. Goody good. All right. So I hate to break it to you. It's one of my. So, y'all, this is going to be an interesting time, but it's not bad. It just depends, I guess, on what your aspects are. But the moon is going to be in Virgo to get to the nitty gritty. This is definitely a time where you're going to feel like it's like OCD on crack. Okay. And you're going to feel like organization needs to happen. There has to be order. This could be a time where you're really hard on yourself. So this is the time to really step back and not be hard on yourself, because it's going to be at a very heightened situation. So you kind of just want to lay back from your perfections and just kind of relax. You could definitely use this energy to get organized, to get stuff done, but don't get to the point where you're not going to finish anything because nothing is perfect. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's really what I got with that. I mean, that's pretty much Virgo in a lump sum. That's really what you're going to be feeling during this time. You may feel like you can either feel on one side of the spectrum or the other, where it's like, I don't want to do anything right now. This energy is too overwhelming and I'm about to shut all the way down. And so you're going to be lazy the whole time, but you could have used this energy to kind of move through some things and get things structured and organized for yourself. Or you could just be too hard on yourself and then you still don't get anything done because you're so hard on yourself. So of course, with everything, with every sign, there has to be balance. And that's just what you're going to be feeling during this time. As always, it's going to be around 2 to 3 days. So just understand that's the type of energy you're just going to be in. And that's fine. Just let it flow. Understand that and use it for your benefits.
I'm actually looking forward to it. I notoriously am not a fan of the earth sign energy when it comes to especially Virgo energy. That OCD on crack, that is no joke. However, I've been loving these little Capricorn moons, so I'm gonna hope that Virgo moon does me well as well. We're gonna just hope that we can bring balance, and I'm gonna remember your words of not being too hard on myself.
Don't be too hard on yourself. Yes, take the energy, work out some stuff, get some stuff done that maybe you've been procrastinating on. Definitely do that, but don't be too hard. Let it out. Go ahead and press submit. Go ahead and throw it on your YouTube. Give it a try.
Yes, I'm here for it. Yes. Process and express.
Yes.
That was a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Okay, so what are we getting into?
We are getting into divination and crystals. I mean, yes. Could I have a more favorite topic?
Yes. This is you.
This is me.
This is Portia's topic. I'm just going to sit here like this.
In a nutshell. But I want to hear from you too, kind of what you're experiencing.
Oh, I am. You know I am.
I know. I just want to let you know right now you won't get called on.
Right.
Hey, divination and crystals. I love it. One of my favorite topics. Interestingly enough, I feel like I found a love for both of them around the same time. And I'm also still super novice. So y'all, I guess we can talk about how we came up with this topic. We wanted to share some of the things that we found along the way that just have helped us to heal in general. Just helped us to be better, helped us to see things newly, help us to tap in with ourselves. And one of my favorite ways have been with divination and with crystals. And I'm still new in this, still learning, but I also feel like when you're learning, you especially always feel like, oh, I don't know enough, let me not say anything. I would encourage you to share what you know, because there's somebody that can benefit from it. So I'm going to share so that y'all benefit from it in any way that you can. And share with me. If I say something today and you're like, that don't feel right to me, let me know, girl, because I'm learning.
Go ahead and put it down there.
Yes, please. Yes, we want to get connected. So I'll start with divination. So divination has been one of the very interesting things for me ever since I like fell in love with Harry Potter. There's this class in Harry Potter where she's like divination, and it's always like the lame class that nobody really wants to go to because it's not a particular thing. You didn't like blow anything up. It didn't fight anybody. And people always thought Professor Trelawney was crazy. But I always was into the divination part of it. And so I started looking into kind of like what that meant. And there's many different ways of divination. So I want to give my favorite definition that I found. Pull it up here. Divination is the attempt to gain insight to a question or situation by way of a standardized process or ritual. Some little clarification: used in various forms throughout history. Diviners, people who do divination, ascertain their interpretations of how querent they should proceed by reading signs, events, omens through contact with supernatural agency. And when I say supernatural agency, that can mean many different things. For me, it's intuition, it's angels, it's spirit guides, it's those things, God, that speak kind of through a process. So there are many different types of divination. In Professor Trelawney's case, you could stare into the crystal ball. There are tea leaf divination. There's coffee grind divination. Our ancestors did cowrie shell divination. There's people who do practices do coin and playing card divination. Tarot cards are super duper popular. Oracle cards, also super duper popular forms of divination. But you can really do divination with anything, because all divination is access to being able to get to information. So what I use divination for is access to get to my intuition. Anything can be an access. So when I go out in nature, if I sit under a tree and I happen to really notice a certain kind of bird, that could even be a type of receiving divination, because it's just really about the message and kind of how the message flows in. The way that I typically do divination the most currently is through oracle cards and pendulums. We can get into pendulums on a whole nother day. We'll talk about crystals. I will show you my pendulum, but oracle cards is mostly what I wanted to talk about today. And my practice with oracle cards really came out of a frustration of wanting to get into divination and feeling like I didn't know enough. And just like, oh, I'm gonna get a tarot deck. Like every other girl, I'm like, oh yes, I'm getting into the spiritual stuff. I'm finna get a tarot deck. I'm finna watch a YouTube video. It's like I got my little YouTube video on my tarot deck, and I was like, this shit is hard. Like, this is okay. And then the more you learn and the more you research, you're like, oh, tarot is like astrology. You could spend your whole life learning it and never really get to the bottom. Oh, there are lots of it. Okay. And I still play with tarot. I'm learning, but I'm definitely giving it the respect that it takes to learn it slowly. And I found while looking up tarot decks and looking up information that there was something called oracle decks. And what's great about oracle decks that's different than tarot is that, like all cards typically come with a little book, but the oracle deck book has general insights that can really be applied very directly, and also very broadly. So it helps people at all levels of access to their intuition get access through the cards. So you could just pick a card and use it as a journal topic if you don't know anything about it or you don't feel connected that way. Or like for somebody like me, I pray, I ask my ancestors to guide me, I connect to my spirit guides, and I, can feel my intuition leading me toward a message, and it almost always leads me correct. And I also find that when I'm with people and I tap into their energy and I ask that question, the more that I've started doing it, the more correct those messages are as well. And I thought that it would take years for me to even get something that even landed as semi-correct. But honestly, when your intuition wants to speak to you, it'll find any way. And I really encourage you to look in that way, look for that way in oracle cards.
It's so interesting because you seem like the type of all things that you do, you kind of just jump in like, oh, and you drown, and then you're like, okay, let's go to float, and then you float. So it's funny hearing it. Another thing that's happened where you're like, okay, I'm getting the tarot cards, and you're like, whoa, hold up. This is a lot. It is a lot. When you
It
start
is.
to really, and you have to be careful. You have to be careful with this energy. It is real. And there's light and dark energy, and so you want to make sure that you take your time when you're learning during your spiritual practices. If you're trying something new, you want to take your time to learn as much information as you can when you're doing this stuff, so you're making sure that you're opening the right energy that you're looking for.
I would totally agree. And one of the things I like about Oracle as well is it's a soft place to land in regards to light and dark energy. Oftentimes, when you're working with Oracle cards, unlike tarot is going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
People read a tarot card reading, they're like, girl, leave your man. He don't really want you like that. It's there. Or, or whatever, because it's really, and when you get good at reading tarot, you can really hold that light and dark energy. What's great about Oracle oftentimes is that the decks run on the positive side. So it's a safe place to start dabbling, because 9 times out of 10, even if you get something that's constructive, it's more darkness in the place of constructing you to heal. Look at your shadow. Look at maybe something that is emotional for you that you're not thinking about, rather than the death card or something to that effect.
Got you.
Bless. Tell me a little bit about. So I know you have an Oracle deck, right? At least one. No? Is it just I come to your house and bring all my fucking decks?
You're my Oracle deck.
Okay, well then tell me. The first time I pulled cards for you, what was that experience like?
It felt natural just because, we have that type of connection, and I just see you as like a walking, heart fairy thing that's rolling around in life, and you just so happen to be at my house today, blessing my whole environment. But I definitely resonated with it. It wasn't like it was something, you've never given me a reading that I didn't resonate with, or I wasn't able to connect it for myself and feel what spirit or the universe or whoever um, wanted to give me. So yeah, it was really good. I think I've never been hesitant about stuff like that. Of course, being raised in the church, it's like everything's the devil. So I didn't really get to explore that until I became an adult. It wasn't my first time getting a reading. I got a reading when I was going through times with an ex, and I was trying to figure out what was going on and if I should leave, etc. It was very much of, yeah, you should dip. So it's interesting that you use that example, because it was very clear that what you think it is, that's the intent. So stop questioning and go with it. It's more of a really direct, very blunt situation, which I can appreciate.
Yeah.
What else? So really, it was just that first reading, and then I finally got a reading by you. But other than that, I really haven't gotten any readings. So yeah, I'm open to it. I'm open to get readings. There was a deck that I was really into, because I'm into astrology. Hello, but there was a moon deck, and I was like, oh shit, this would be so cool. Like, and I was like, okay, I'm put. You know how you put stuff on your list. I'm gonna go buy that, and then COVID happened, and yeah. So, but I'm definitely going to go get that deck. My favorite crystal store is where it's at, and they're closed, which is sad. So that would be such a good place to just go and kind of just like, okay, got out the house, got a new crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss like going into crystal stores and being in the crystal shops.
Yeah, for sure. But other than that, I haven't really. That's as much as I've like dove into oracle readings or anything like that, tarot readings.
That's dope. Well, I'm glad to know. I didn't know. I just assume people are already.
We just out here. Yeah. No.
No, that makes me happy, and I also think you hit on something I wanted to touch on too. That you get the right reader, you're gonna get your life, and I'm looking forward to developing myself into being more of the right reader. Something also somebody said to me is, if you feel like you maybe been called to heal with your hands, like that there's something about your hands and your touch. I'm Taurus rising, so there is something about tangible holding of things. I found that I really like this for this. It's another way of playing with the different ways that your body can express spirit, your body can express your emotions, your body can express what you're going through. And I have friends that even, like I said, will pull oracle cards, just go through, you know, shuffle however they shuffle, and whatever they pull, that's what they use as their journal prompt for the day. Shout out to Danella, she told me that, and I was like, oh, that's a really beautiful way to use it. They're just nice to have for even quick insight into you, even if they're, you know, I'm not trying to connect with nobody's hired nothing, I don't want to, nah. It's a nice way to get into your subconscious mind too, and just, you know, what general reading do I need today? Pop it open and there you go. So I did want to explain a little bit about how, if you wanted to start with an oracle deck, kind of how you would start. Let me bring one open. This is our tried and true herb oracle we've used here on a bunch of times. They typically come in a box like this. And usually if I open up this box inside, you've got cards. They typically come in a deck. And depending on the deck, they usually come with a book. Almost always they come with a book. And what's great about the book and what's great about oracle is that you don't need to know what every card is. You don't need to go through every card. The book will tell you how to get started. And usually in the first like 5 or 10 pages, they have information about like how to use this deck, what you would want to use it for, ways and tricks and tips that would kind of make it work more for you, how to go from a beginner to advanced. Most all decks have that in the beginning of the books, which is also super dope. So what I would suggest, if you're brand new getting a deck, wrapping it out of the package, that you read the book from cover to cover if you can. If you can't, at least read the first maybe 15, 10 pages that tell you about the deck, and then just let yourself be surprised. I've had decks that I literally just kept on my shelf, never read the book. One day I was just like, oh, there's a deck over there. I'm gonna go play with that deck. Busted it open, read the first couple pages, and just let a card surprise me. And almost always it was still something really insightful that I needed to hear that day, that got me where I needed to go that day. So trust your intuition and trust that even if you don't feel like doing nothing, it's still gonna work out fine.
Right.
Yes. But I would say if you are somebody that likes oracle decks, maybe you have a deck and you're playing with the deck, some tips that I would say that make, that I have found that make my readings more impactful. I try to sit before I do any oracle reading, and I do whatever my spiritual practice is. So if you're a praying person, pray that your messages are clear and concise. That you easily understand the messages, that the messages come from spirit if that's your belief system. If not prayer, meditate, or both. Sit for 10-15 minutes as the wind spirits blow down my window. Sit for 10-15 minutes, really center your energy, feel your energy come back down to yourself. So you're all over, you've been running around all day, or you just woke up and you're still sleepy. Sit with yourself for a second and let it really, you know, let yourself really arrive in your seat. Feel the feet on the floor, you know, get in your body. They call it like a grounding experience. And then pull your cards. I don't know if you've heard that. I feel like we've said it a million times on this podcast that spirit comes in whispers. So the more you can get yourself still, the louder your messages will be, because you don't want to be louder than the messages coming in.
Yeah, I think like I need to have talk with spirit. I need spirit to go up at least like 3 notches. You know what I mean? For just the volume. I just need to go up just a tad because it's just real quick. And it's like, wait, you know, say it again.
So true.
You know what I mean? I thought it was really cool that you mentioned like, you know, the oracle decks have meaning. It usually goes with the picture, etc. And then it got me thinking about like my Instagram, and I was like, oh, I kind of do that with the planets. Like I have a planet, it goes with a theme. That's crazy. I never put that together, but that's yeah. Anywho, this is not about me. This is about.
I'm living for it though, because I think this goes back to my original point. Almost anything can be divination, and people use divination in many different ways. If you're tapping into your intuition, you're tapping into your higher self, you're already doing this.
Right. So yeah, there's definitely many creative ways to tap in, y'all. For sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, going back to oracle card decks, I would say the only other trick I would say to do that I really love doing with oracle card decks is that if you want to make a relationship with a particular deck, like I have a particular favorite deck for when I need to find out some shit. If I am in to the rock and a hard place, or I need to really get some information for someone, about someone, or for me about someone, I use this deck called the John Holland Psychic Tarot.
Okay.
I love this deck. But what I've done with this deck is I make a personal relationship with this deck. So I try not to let a lot of people touch my deck. I keep my energy in the deck. And before I started with this deck, I did a little ritual for myself where I just really meditated, prayed that my guides help me connect to the deck. I sat the deck in front of me. I tapped on the deck with my right hand. That's your energetic hand, right? You receive energy with your left hand. You give energy with your right hand. So I tapped 3 times on my deck because I like threes. And then I touched.
Question. Is that because you're right-handed? So if you're left-handed, will it switch, or that's just in general?
You know, to be honest, I've always heard that no matter what, you receive energy on your left side, the side of your feminine, and you give energy on your right side, the side of your masculine.
Got it. Okay.
So I don't know. Again, someone let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't know if it changes if you're not left-handed or not right-handed. Okay. But that's my general. I would say it's a general rule. I knock 3 times on the deck, on the cards. Really, just and the reason to knock is to send physical energy into the thing that you're doing. And then I physically touched and looked at every single card, opened every single card until the end of the deck, and then I just shuffled it 4 or 5 times and started making a relationship with that deck. So things you can do to make a relationship with a particular deck that you want to be like your special deck that gives you your special message. You can put that deck on your ancestor altar if you have one. You can put that deck next to your crystals if you have them. I sleep with my decks, so putting it under the pillow so it can be with my energy as I make a relationship with it. You'll hear me say the same thing when you're making a relationship with crystals. So that's kind of what I do with the decks just to make them more potent. So those are my tips and tricks. I always got to give a good tips and tricks because I love a good tips and tricks.
You got to give them something good to leave with.
Got to, right? Because I was hoping somebody would give me a tips and tricks. I just saved you 6 hours of YouTube. You are welcome.
Period.
So last thing with Oracle cards is I love them. So I did a reading for us. We're going to start doing readings a lot on the this channel. So we're going to be pulling cards, talking about crystals. So I pulled one for us today just to give you an example of how one can look. And the card I pulled for us was the Sweat Lodge.
Okay.
And if you have any questions about, let's see if we can see it a little better there. If you have any questions about how I pulled it, the question I just asked is, what's a general message that the soul group needs today? Easy. And this is the card that we got. Oftentimes, too, if you're into numerology, you can see the number on top, and you can always deeper that meaning. Symbolism is everywhere around you. See as much as or as little as you really want to. The number here is number 54, Sweat Lodge. And this awesome book came with this guide here. So, also we're pulling from the Mystical Oracle Shaman. Mystical Shaman Oracle deck is what we're pulling from. Here's the book. So I'm going to read you the message.
I just want to say this is very easy access. Like, I like the fact that you can go to a book. And yes. It's because like astrology is a little bit different. Like you can get a whole chart reading and be like, what is this? You know, like you have to go and do the research, but it comes with a handbook. Like,
yes. And that's part of why I like Oracle so much, is because it's accessible to anybody. If you can read, you can do this divination practice. Yeah. You don't have to make it super complicated. I think so often with so many spiritual things, because the concepts are so like esoteric and deep, I sometimes feel like that's not for me because I don't know enough. And I like the Oracle's welcoming. Anybody can start.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to read you. The Sweat Lodge is the card we pulled. Right. The Sweat Lodge represents the womb of Mother Earth. Volcanic stones are heated in a fire outside, then brought into the lodge and placed in a shallow hole in the center. Participants sit in complete darkness around the red-hot stones to sweat away old beliefs and habits and heal disease. When you return humbly to the womb of the Mother, you are offered second chances. The invitation for this card is it's time to journey inward into the dark and hidden places of your soul to reconnect with ancient earth wisdom. You can also create a sacred and intimate space in the dark by lighting a candle. Observe what emerges, and without judging it, invite it to bring you its gifts. You are being offered an opportunity to shed and heal from aspects of your life you have outgrown. Do not worry that you will be consumed by the process. On time, Corona readings.
Look,
Time to shed.
Portia, hold on. Look, I'm stopping this here, okay? Y'all turn away. Look, Portia, don't be reading these people for filth. We don't have time. We're trying to get them to come back, okay?
Look, Spirit pulled the sweat lodge.
Fine.
I'm here to give the people what they need. I am here to give the people what they need to see.
If our views are low, I'm blaming you.
Look, I'm a stand for that you're healing. I'm not a stand that you're comfortable, honey.
No, that was awesome.
All right. You gonna be all right.
Just reading people for filth.
Yes. That's the other thing about oracle readings. You'll read and then your intuition and your mind starts to go. So what intuition says and what speaks to me in this card is that we are in a time where it is time to shed the things that no longer serve you and take a good hard look at what you want your life to look like when this is over, guys. Ladies, folks, good people.
Right. I feel it. I connect with it.
I think we've had 3 or 4 cards in a row that are talking about love yourself and shed your shit.
I'm just saying, so group.
We love you. Sending you love and shed your shit.
Be kind. Go find some help. It's okay to get help.
Yes. Take this as the information and take this as not the information. This is the invitation. Go get your shit done.
Right. I received that. I received it.
Glad to give it to you. So next we're talking about crystals.
Are we?
Yes.
Okay. What's are we doing like top 5 crystals? How are we going to go about this? Tell me.
Okay. So this is what I want to start with how we both found out about crystals, our little bit of our crystal journey. That's a good start. And then I'll get into why crystals work, because people always ask me that shit.
Okay. How did I get into crystals? Oh, I learned about chakras. I remember I learned about chakras. So there is amazing, what is it called? Spirit Science. It's on YouTube. It's amazing. I freaking love it. Okay. Have you seen it, Portia?
I stand Spirit Science.
Okay. All right. So yes, love Spirit Science. Started from the beginning. Watched all the videos. I'm a fan. Anywho, I'll make sure to put the link below because it's such a good intro for just spirituality, it goes over everything. It goes over how all the religions are connected, how they're connected. It goes over chakras, which is a whole nother aspect. It goes over Merkabas, etc. Okay, now I ran across, when you learn about chakras, you'll learn about the colors, you'll learn about the energies and ways of getting in tune with that and certain stones that can help you heal. And even sometimes your birthstone is a crystal, which really ties in with your chart. So a lot of this stuff is very connected. So if you run across something, you'll probably run across the rest of them eventually, if you really are deep diving. So anyways, I'm learning about chakras. I'm learning about the root. And I'm like, okay, I feel like the root chakra is really where I need to be working on, etc. What are some stones? I started looking up that type of stuff. I think I ran across what's like a smoky quartz. I think it was smoky quartz that I was really drawn to. Still drawn to that, but it was really, really tough during that time where it was just like, that's the stone I wanted, really what I went after. So. And then I'm always into wearing my crystals. A lot of people are okay with putting their crystals in their pocket or putting their crystals in their car. I'm not really a fan of putting my crystals in my car. But they put their crystals in different areas. Where I'm at right now is I wear my crystals. I love to wear my crystals around my neck. I'm going into different other jewelry, so I don't really wear them as much. Oh, but I have a bracelet. These are crystals.
Yes.
And then also I have a crystal grid for just my home and my environment and my relationship and my manifestation. So you can create crystal grids and stuff like that. There's tons of YouTube situations that are on that stuff, but that's kind of like how I got started and where I'm at right now. I truly believe that it holds energy. It has grounded me. Y'all have seen in previous episodes where, you know, there's a crystal grid behind us and Portia's like, wait a minute, like that citrine is, or that carnelian, girl, like
Carnelian.
it's real strong. It's like you can feel the energy in there. And just walking into a crystal store, if you're walking into a crystal store, it really changes you could feel the energy as you go through the different areas. If it's a really good crystal store, where they don't have fake crystals, but you can really feel the change in energy as you walk throughout the store. So yeah, I say it's why not go and try it out and see if you resonate with it. Sit with one, make sure you're cleansing them. Certain ones don't need to be cleansed, but Portia's going to go into all of that. That is not my job.
I'm here for it all. I want to speak to something that you said though, because I think it also talks a little bit about the divination and the crystals. Sensitivity to these things typically comes as a journey. So some people are born, it's like, think about singing. There are some people who are born naturally just this amazing voice. And then there are some people who have to hone that for a while and it takes some time to get there. I would say the same thing with divination and crystals. If you walk into a crystal store and you don't feel shit, don't feel guilty. Sometimes it takes, remember, the spirit speaks in whispers. Sometimes it takes just slowing down and learning your own self before you can feel sensitive to those energies. It took me forever to like feel energy from a crystal. I was like, these rocks are cute, but I don't understand.
They're cute, but nah.
Yeah, I get it. They're pretty. Walk me through what's happening here.
Right. And I think that understanding what the crystal represents and starting to do work around that crystal will help. Even if you don't feel it at first, if it's something that you're trying to work on, like if it's something about communication, and then you get a crystal that is geared around communication, opening your throat chakra, etc. Getting a crystal like that and just working with that energy, sitting with that energy often, putting your affirmations, etc., you may see a difference. You may be able to get out what you were trying to say to your people throughout the day. Maybe it's something you need to wear. Maybe it's something you don't need to wear. You know, maybe you need to shh in certain situations. So don't wear the crystal that's going to make you talk.
Girl, I'm going to tell you the trouble that carnelian has got me into in this life.
Oh, Lord.
I love that hotel from Bailey in the back. Thank you, girl.
I'm excited for this story about this carnelian girl.
We will get into that story, and I will say I totally agree. And I just wanted to say that you have to think about all these spiritual practices, even self-care practices. All things are relationships. So the more time and energy and care you put into it, the more time and energy and care you'll get out of it.
Yes, that's the thing. Whatever you put your energy towards, that is what you're gonna get. I think the biggest thing that I heard from like Christianity, in the Bible, it says that make your own connection with God. Mm-hmm. You dictate that in so many avenues in your life. Make your connections with your spirituality. Create it for yourself. You know what I mean? It's your relationship. So, and it may not connect right away. I'm pretty sure the first time somebody was like, hey, God, where you at, yo? There was no answer.
I done called a couple times and the line seemed like it was dead, and I was like, wait a minute. You said
not even busy, but dead.
Somebody said you was on the main line. I called and it was dead. Well, I would say my story with crystals, to get back into that, I would say I started off thinking they was pretty rocks. I was like, pretty rocks. And I remember as a little kid being in like geology, the geology part of science class when you're in 3rd grade, and we like had an obsidian for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, it's like a lava rock. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And I just always thought the rocks were cool. I always was drawn to like those little things in nature. You find them and they're pretty, but I didn't think much of it until I started going on a spiritual journey and wanted to kind of expand what that looked like. So the very first thing I was like, yeah, pretty rocks. Let's go with that. Let's see what that shit's about. Buy the pretty rocks. I think my very first crystal I ever bought was a chakra set off Amazon. And it
Oh.
had like one of each of the 7 chakra crystals. They were pretty. I felt nothing. They were cool. I didn't understand. And I just kind of put them, on my little desk and moved on about my life. And then you start to notice little by little that once I started looking up the meanings, like you said, I was like, oh wow, okay, I actually have been looking into this and lately, and randomly I've been drawn to communicate more when I have this little blue one around. And randomly I have been really feeling like, maybe like that inner voice, because at the time I did not have the word intuition. That inner voice is a little louder when I had the clear crystals around, because I was working with a lot of clear quartz, because it came with a lot of clear quartz, because it was from Amazon and it was $20, and quartz is cheap. So that was what I had. And so that relationship really evolved quickly. Once I started realizing, like, oh, this is something that I've been trying spiritually that actually fucking works, I dived way deep into that shit. Started researching it left and right. Started really creating a life around how fun these crystals were. And then I created a crystal business. I loved it so much that I was like, how can I figure out a way to infuse crystals in everything? So I started making body butters with crystals, sprays with crystals, candles with crystals, bracelets with crystals, all different kind of crystals, learning all the many different ways to cleanse them and care for them, and tying them to astrology. And now I'm getting my crystal healer certification, so now I learn how to heal with crystals. You can do so much. So that's kind of been my journey around. My side carnelian story is carnelian was one of the 7 stones in my little cute chakra box. If you know anything about carnelian, carnelian is a sacral chakra stimulator. So if you are somebody that is, the elements that you work with are any level of fiery, or somebody like me, if you're into human design, I'm a generator, anything sacral related in my space turns on a fire that burns in my belly that is unlike anything I had ever experienced. And I would just wanted my crystals around, so I would put my little stone in my bra or in my pocket like people do, and wonder why I was here cussing people out. I worked at Starbucks. I worked in the drive-thru. I would have my little citrine on me, and I would be like, hello, welcome to Starbucks. So nice to see you today. Hey girl, you get your matcha latte. So happy. I put my carnelian in my purse, in my little pocketbook, or on my apron, and it's like, why do you need a straw? Can you count your change before you get to the window? Yes. How can I help you? And I'm like, what's wrong? Am I having a bad day? Like, what is? And I was like, oh, girl, carnelian will set fire to the spark. So if you got some spark, you might want to leave that one at home on that day, because everybody could get it if I'm on carnelian.
Oh Lord, they can't have no straw, sis.
No. What do you need a straw for a hot drink for? I get that your teeth, but why? Yeah, it was a lot.
Oh man, we don't want. That's the one thing about Libra, y'all. You don't want them. It don't make sense. It don't make sense when they mad. None.
We are air. It's like a bomb. I will set you the fuck off. I like love and light. We keep it love and light.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, be careful what you putting around and make sure that it's the right one for what you're fucking with that day, because it could set some stuff on fire, and you could get fired.
Yes, that fire could get you fired. No shade. But I will say, so this, I guess, goes into my next topic of how crystals actually work and why that happens. So crystals themselves, the way that I like to understand crystals, and if you're also like, what the fuck is a crystal? We have many different varieties here that I can show you. So crystals can come in tons of different forms. This is like a more natural piece, some black kyanite, a super protective stone that I keep around me and keep all the bad juju away from me. The fuck? Or it can come in super polished forms, like this little green adventurine here with the pretty little gold sparks. Because what they are is rocks, crystals. Crystalline matrix is the area underneath the earth where the minerals in the earth turn things into crystals. And what it is energy trapped. So when you think about when a lava goes off, a lot of energy goes off, and then that rock cools into obsidian. The energy that lava had, all of that energy, scientifically even, is stuck, formed, crystallized into that crystal. So it has a lot of the protective elements that the earth would have, because they are coming also from the earth. So Almost all crystals have a protective element to some way or form or fashion. Anything around the earth you can consider protective. And crystals hold energy and vibration. And that energy and vibration is available to you with, depending on the kind of crystal it is, depending on what vibration they hold. It also depends a bit on the shape that the crystal is, will change the way that their vibration is expressed. So if you have a crystal, for example, like my homegirl pyrite right here, one of my favorite money stones that's completely round, it's a cylinder, this type of shape will make the properties and the energy and the vibration of pyrite radiate around the room because it's circular. Whereas this clear quartz generator that I have here is going to point energy from the bottom up to the top because it has a little point there and it is generating energy upward. So the shape helps to change the amplification of the crystal's properties. But that's why crystals work. So when you have a stone, like, we go back to our friend kyanite, where the properties of kyanite are protection and the ability to transmute, meaning to kind of dispel and move through, transform negative energy into positive energy. It holds this vibration wherever it is. So if I hold this vibration with me, then I then get to receive those properties. I then get to hang out with our homeboy kyanite that just fell off my shoulder. So those kind of things are the reason why people use certain crystals for this, certain crystals for that. And to speak back to what Micah was saying about chakras, every chakra, chakras are just energy centers in your body, has a color and corresponds to a color. So each one of those correspondents can also correspond to crystals of that color. For example, blue is the throat chakra stone. Whenever I'm on the podcast and I know I have to be talking, sometimes I get nervous to say certain things. And I get nervous to oh, should I say this? Should I not say this? So I always keep a blue stone on me. And I make necklaces so that I can keep my crystals on me. And I make them with these little empty cages so that I can swap out crystals with whatever one I need. And I always keep a blue stone on me. Today I have blue quartz. This is one of my favorite blue quartz because it has these awesome little rings of blue kind of going through it, which when you think about how that stone was formed, that's energy getting pressed into the stone and it cracks. So much energy was pressed into the stone that it cracked into multiple different color variations. All that energy is now with my little stone guy. And so I get to take that. It's a bit more of an amplified crystal. Does that make sense?
I'm following, girl. I'm here.
Yes, so that's their crystal. So other things I wanted to just mention is that crystals can come in a variety of different ways to use them, shapes, sizes. People do many things with them. Wherever people want that vibration to go, they have created a place to present it. You see crystal bowls, you see big ass crystal statues, you see geodes, which are like crystals that are cracked open that have the pretty colors inside.
All the at the fair.
Yes. And that's also super fun experience if you've never played with crystals before, to go to the fair, get a geode, and they'll help you crack it open. And because you don't know what's on the outside, it's like a brown ball. And then in the inside, you get to see all the fun things. That's a super fun way to do crystals if it's your first time.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a couple different forms of crystals here. We talked a little bit about the natural form. Here's another natural form crystal. This is a green malachite that I just got. I showed on the channel a couple days ago. And they even come in smaller natural form. This is some orange calcite that I have playing. Oh, yes. Maybe that. Oh, are we going to do the I'm now a beauty guru?
Yes.
Oh. Can you see the eyeshadow? Can you?
Is it white?
It's white and orange.
Okay.
It looks like a creamsicle.
I can see that. It does look like cream.
Yes, it's like a little creamsicle. Or you can have our friend the generator. There's even wand. So this is a new baby I just got. This is a fluorite double terminated wand. Okay. And what's great about a double terminated wand is that I can send and receive energy. So as I'm learning to heal, I can move energy from one to another, from out to another, on top of harnessing all the crystal properties that come with fluorite, which I love.
And those things can come in handy knowing where the energy is going out and coming in. When you start to make crystal grids, or if you start to put crystals throughout your house, you want them to point in a certain area or to be in a certain place throughout your house. And so that's why we tried to say in the beginning of, look into everything, take your time, don't be in a rush, learn everything as you can, as much as you can.
Absolutely. And I would say we're going to give you a pinch. So if you're into it, let this just be the invitation for you to dig a little bit deeper. I didn't think if there's any other forms of crystals I wanted to show you. Oh, and also that crystals can come like you did, in necklaces. So this, or bracelets. This is a carnelian bracelet that I have here. I made this and put little tiny carnelians on it because this is about the amount of carnelian I should have on a regular basis. Right? Unless I got some shit going on. Like, I will say carnelian in the right places, carnelian in the bedroom does make for some sexy time. So if you are looking for a little fire in your area, having a carnelian and citrine grid in your bedroom makes for loud dreams, but makes for sexy times. Just saying.
We had to take our crystal grid that had carnelian out of the room. I was like, we're not being productive. Gross. We got to shift this thing on out.
And it was hilarious. When she was telling me, she was like, she was making the grid. She's like, I'm going to get extra carnelian. I was like, all right, girl.
She did, and she got it. And it works. I'm telling you, it works, y'all. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm pleased. But yeah, when you do your crystal grids, it's really, really cool. You can look up really good ways to do affirmations and how to create it. And like, you could do like a DIY situation, nothing like too crazy where you got to spend hundreds of dollars. And they will still work. Mine is on like a cardboard that we drew out and we created it together. It's about the energy that we put forth together.
Yes.
That is why it works.
Yes, I totally agree. And the thing about crystals holding energy is it will hold your energy. So if you whisper your prayers into the crystals will hold your prayers. The crystals will hold your intention. Everything moves with intention. If you put your mind's eye and your intention and your attention on something, you will impact it, whether good or bad, positive or negative. Yes. I'd also say you can do it in a various amount of, you could use crystals for different things. Like I said, I like making my own crystal jewelry. Easy, cheap ways if you want to get started. I take these are small little bottles you can get from anywhere. Back to the contrast. And I have rose quartz chips in here. So these are just chips along with roses. That I just put inside here. And I just put on a little string so that I can wear it around my neck because rose quartz is a heart chakra stone and it lands about right here around my heart.
I got a question. So I heard that showing your crystal grids and like your altar and stuff like that is not good for you. Is that true?
I think it depends on your altar. So I have a public altar, right? Spots in my house that are public to the public, and that kind of blessing can get pushed. If you're in the variety in the area, you will get a blessing. But then I also have private altars that are just about me, my intuition, my personal growth, my small ancestral altar. I have like a little tiny ancestral altar actually to my right that's all about like this big, and it's just for me and my ancestors. I don't show that one, and I keep it covered.
Got you.
Yeah. So just, I personally, you know me, I'm a Libra. I'm not doing either or. I have both.
Got you. Because everybody was throwing shade at Summer Walker for showing her altar. I was like, oh, that's a thing? Okay.
Yeah. And I also, people love to shame people for everything. Your spiritual practice is your spiritual practice. Do you, boo?
True.
Do you, boo? Do you? I would say, again, and crystals come in a variety of different forms. Again, depending on the form, they do different things. So having a necklace on you brings the crystal energy towards you. I have a ring here that's got some black onyx in it. This is a protection stone. I keep this ring on me. I have had it on my altar. I've prayed into this ring. This ring is a protection amulet for me. So I wear it anytime I'm in any type of mass communication because it helps to keep me protected. And I've asked for it to keep me protected. I put my intention into the crystal in that way.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope you guys got something for this. Are we going in a different direction? I feel like I've learned some new stuff, and I'm ready for my crystal store to open up. Like, I miss it.
I know. I hope
that are the ones on my
by the time it does.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, please hit up Portia. Comment below if you guys, just a quick way to do that. you guys have any questions, we will get back to you as soon as possible. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the subscribing that you guys have been doing. I just want to get some gratification, some gratitude here. Yeah, like I appreciate you guys subscribing, liking, commenting. I'm glad that you guys are moved by the past couple of episodes. We really appreciate it. If you don't know, if you're new here, welcome. There's tons of content. We have content on Spotify, SoundCloud, a lot because we started as a podcast and we kind of moved to more visual also. So if you're catching us on YouTube, of course you are. This is the visual. There you go. But yeah, we also have Instagram. So you can check us out at As Told by Queers Podcast. All the links and everything you need will be below. I'll make sure to put the links of the Oracle decks also, or at least where she got the Oracle decks, so you can have that information. So yeah, I think that is all. We appreciate y'all coming another Sunday. Peace.